right, good morning everybody. Sorry to interrupt the conversations, but let's go ahead and get going since we all, I'm sure, have a lot of work to do after this. On that note, thank you for taking time out of your busy days to come here. Let's just jump right in. The agenda for today is this is sort of a launch event for the Houston chapter for the American Association for Inside Sales. So we're going to start out talking a little bit about this association, and I actually have on GoToMeeting the CEO, the founder of the association, Bob Perkins. Bob, are you there? Can you hear me okay?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can. So the quick agenda for the morning, we're going to show you some slides just to give you an overview of the association from the national level, then just a couple of slides to kind of introduce the local chapter. And then we just want to open it up to some dialogue. I mean, this chapter, this association is really about bringing all of us together, sharing information, getting to know each other. So we'll try to get to that portion as quickly as possible. And then we hope to have you out of here at or before 9 o'clock. So on that note, I'm going to pass it off to Bob. Bob, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Michael, I'm getting a tremendous echo on my end, and it's making it hard to hear.
Let me see here.
Maybe if you muted.
Let me see here. I'm going to move the speakers a little bit. How's that?
Okay, that's still getting an echo. I'm wondering if I should call him via the telephone.
You know what? I'm gonna mute on GoToMeeting.
Okay, great.
Bob, I'm gonna hit mute. I'm gonna tell you it's all yours, and I'm gonna hit mute. So it's all yours.
Okay. Okay, great. Oh, that's much better. Thanks a lot. Well, first of all, I'd like to formally welcome the Houston chapter. It's our newest chapter. We have about 50 chapters, and congratulations on launching this. You know, it's an exciting time for inside sales. People's lives are being changed through the tremendous job growth and all of that inside sales can offer. So, thank you all in Houston for joining us, on this journey. It's been an exciting time, and we want to congratulate you and welcome you. Just quickly about the AA-ISP, I'm not sure how many in the room are familiar with us, but we are almost 4 years old. We're the only association dedicated to inside sales. We have over 3,500 members, represented by 1,500 companies, both in the U.S. and Canada, and also internationally. We're gaining tremendous interest and support internationally. In addition, we recently, about a year ago, introduced our profession's first and only inside sales accreditation, which we'll talk about in a minute. Can we go to the next slide? Just some of the companies represented here. We can go ahead to the next slide here, Michael. A little bit about our vision and goals. It's all about raising the bar on both the professionalism of inside sales as well as helping in terms of the performance of individuals, managers, and teams. The association was really founded to unite a community, and we've seen tremendous support around chapters being formed and folks coming to conferences and coming to webinars. So it's been tremendous response by the community. We also have a goal of developing and helping both individuals and organizations, and we provide a centralized resource for the inside sales community. Go to the next slide. The AA-ISP membership. Some of you are probably already members in the room. Maybe you've seen this before. But if you're new, there's 3 legs to the stool, if you will. One is a learning component where we have a tremendous amount of resources in our library of white papers, best practices. We put on conferences. In fact, we were down in Dallas a couple of times last year, one for our leadership summit. We have webinars, and then for only our members, we have something called Training Tuesdays, and a lot of managers will bring their team to this. It's a 30-minute, once a month, really a brief training time that teams and individuals can spend together. If you're a professional level member, you're going to be asking experts at your disposal. Then we unite the community. Exactly what you all are doing. And I would urge you to continue this effort. Sometimes chapters wane, sometimes they grow into groups of 80 or more. But the key is to come together and to share best practices and provide each other opportunities to learn and network. We also have a very robust scholastic program. Primarily, we now are seeing college students actually joining as members. We have a college scholarship. We handed out free scholarships last year to members and members of their immediate families. So we're getting quite a bit of interest. In fact, the CISP now is being utilized. The first college in Northern Illinois University is using an academic curriculum for the Certified Inside Sales Professional for seniors. So it's amazing what colleges are doing to prepare students, not only for sales, but specifically for the inside sales or virtual sales. And then we have a member services which helps with things like the job board. We have a service provider directory that came about as our members. We got tons of calls on. We need to talk to someone who has this program or does this training or whatever. So we've listed all of them in a large service provider directory. Let's go to the next slide. Hopefully I'm clear and coming through and you can hear me okay. So how do you get the most from your membership? Well, you're all doing it right now. The regional chapter meeting is the way that people involved in inside sales can stay connected in face-to-face throughout the year. Most chapters meet about 4 times a year. If you're a new member, we urge you to sit in one of our virtual member orientations. Larry Reed heads that up, and it's a way for you to understand better and find out ways you can get connected as a member. Come on our Training Tuesdays. It's the second Tuesday of every month at, I believe it's noon Eastern. Visit our Knowledge Center. Come to one of our conferences and webinars. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's go to the next slide. And we'll go one more slide. Give you some updates, some recent updates. We've enhanced our Career Center. When we polled inside sales leaders a year ago, we surveyed them and we asked them, what are your top 3 challenges? The #1 challenge that surfaced was recruiting and finding good candidates. And I believe that the reason behind that is twofold. #1, some studies that were done last year indicate that inside sales is growing at 14%. That's actual new jobs in inside sales. And I can't tell you the number of companies that we talk to that are starting or building or increasing the number of inside sales jobs. So this Career Center, we really partnered with another company called Boxwood who does the back end of this, but we found that given a normal, if someone's using, say, one of the normal job boards out there and looking for inside sales, they would get roughly 7 candidates. My system just shut down on me, so I'm going to kind of fly blind here. Sorry about that. I'm going to reboot this. But anyway, talking about the job board, we find that as people post jobs and look for candidates, we're finding that 3 times the number of qualified candidates reply to jobs listed here, primarily because it's focused on inside sales. Okay, let's go ahead. I'll tell you what I'm going to do here is I'm going to restart my computer on my end, And then I'm going to pause here and just open it up for any questions so far in anything I covered. I'll give you a few minutes to get reglued here.
Any questions from anybody on the association at the sort of national level?
I'm sorry, was that a question?
It looks like we're pretty good on this side. We can kind of tell you what the next slide is. If I'm sure you probably know.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and
the next slide is the chapter program with a map.
Okay, sure. Let's talk a little bit about that. And if you could go on mute, because I'm getting a tremendous second. Thank you. The chapter program, that was launched about a year after the association launched, and we didn't know what to expect, and it has been just unbelievable. I would say every week we have an inquiry about someone that is asking if we have a chapter here or there. We have about 50 total. I think I mentioned this before, that there's been interest internationally as well. And in fact, we've launched India, and we will be launching Ireland and the UK as well. As well as we have right now, I think, 3 chapters up in Canada as well. Let's go ahead to the next slide, and I'm almost rebooted here, so I should be on a quick. But Michael, if you could come on and let me know what the next slide topic is, please.
There's a page for the Houston chapter page.
Okay, that's you all. So congratulations again. You're officially launched now, and you have your own page. I'm sure Mike will probably talk a little bit more about some of the procedures as you move forward. Let's go to the next slide, if you would.
It's the association upcoming events slide.
Okay, great. And just give me 1 second here. I should be able to get back in. If you would bear with me. My laptop just decided to go to sleep, and usually I have a backup slide deck ready.
Yep, we're on
this exact reason, and
we're on the San Francisco, the Inside Sales 2012 San Francisco slide.
Okay, great. The upcoming events. So the association does 2 or 3 different types of conferences. The first one is what we call our Frontline Series. We just returned from Chicago last week. We were there. Our next one coming up is early November in San Francisco, and then we're planning one in Phoenix in February. In fact, we were down in Dallas for the Frontline as well. I think it was a year and a half ago. This is geared towards, as it states, frontline sales reps and frontline managers. So I'm back live now, so thanks for bearing with me. We'll have the head of global sales at LinkedIn, speaking in San Francisco. Let's go ahead to the next slide, if you would, please. We talked about Phoenix, so let's go ahead to the next slide. That's in February. It's a nice time to get out of the cold. Now, here's something that some of you in the room might take special interest in. This is going to be our 2nd annual senior executive retreat. It's quite a bit different than our leadership summit or our frontline event, in that it's limited to no more than 60 directors, VPs, and sales leaders. And it's not something where you go and you get lectured to, or you sit in meetings where you hear presenters. It's very much a facilitated roundtable session, intimate gathering. It's very workshop oriented. We had a great turnout last year. We had a couple of folks. I'll mention some names here. The global leader for inside sales at IBM, Paul, she has about 3,000 inside sales reps. She was there, all the way down to some directors with teams of 10 people. So it's a great mix. And if you're in that capacity, there's a way you can just get a get a spot saved. We've already have, I think, about 15 people signed up. And that's in 2.5 days in February. So if you're interested, you can contact Ashley Becker, who's our member services person, and she'll just send you a fee even if you're not quite sure but you want to just save a fee. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We have a lot of fun at that. We have to do as you can see some whole thing and other activities. This is our flagship event. Last year we were in Dallas at the Galleria. I think it was the Western Galleria. And we had about 400 people. We expect somewhere between 400 and 600 inside sales leaders, whether you're a supervisor, a manager, a director, a VP. This is really the place to be. And it's 2 full days, and it's just chock full of new speakers, folks that have been doing inside sales for a long, long time. It's a great event. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to be in Chicago the 9th and the 10th at the Palmer House. Let's go to the next slide. Let's talk a little bit about membership here. And Michael, I'm sure we'll cover some of this in the next few meetings, but we'll talk about it briefly here. Let's go to the next slide. And you can hit the enter key there once you float in. There's 3 different kinds of membership. The associate is very inexpensive. It really lets you come into the community. It's $25 a year. We ask that anyone that continues to attend chapter meetings at least take out the associate member level, the associate level membership for $25 to help support our ongoing meetings around the chapter. Professional gives you all full access to downloading the content on the website, to access to Ask an Expert, to various other things along with providing some discounts at the end of going to conferences. And then finally, a plan that's getting quite a bit of interest is the corporate team plan. If you have a group of anywhere from 5 to 50 to 500, whatever your number of inside sales reps are, they can join at a very reduced rate of anywhere between $30 to $60 per person, and they get the full professional benefit. Okay? And if you have any questions about this, visit our website or give member services a call. Let's go ahead to the next slide. I just mentioned this, so you can sort of flip through this one quickly there, Michael. We just talked about that. There's some of the pricing for the membership. And I'll mention quickly the certified inside sales professional. Really, this was born out of a lot of quite honestly, a lot of challenges and frustrations really around managers and directors of inside sales. And I'm one of those people, right, that I've hired hundreds, if not thousands, of inside sales reps over my career. I always wanted some sort of bar that was established that said, on a minimum basis, we'd like these reps proficient in certain skills and competencies. And you think of this sort of like the driver's test. Now, in order to get your license to drive, you just can't, put out a resume and take a written test and there you go, off you go, driving a car. You have to go through the test, a pretty rigorous test. In fact, my son, when he took his, he had to take his 4 times to pass it. Now, my daughter passed on 2 times, right? But basically, that test, when you have to prepare for that test by practicing. And then when you take your driver's test, you have to be able to make a reasonably good marking or a reasonably good sometimes use the test where you won't pass. And the CISP is sort of like that. There's a 10-course module. Let's go to the next slide. It's really a blend of all sales styles. But the CISP, it takes about a semester. We're finding that most students get through in on average, about 12 weeks. And there's 10 courses, that cover the gamut of research and pre-call research and prospecting and virtual presentation, all the things that are important inside sales today. It prepares them by repeating almost to the point where they master this content and skills. There's over 100 recordings. They get to record, practice, practice sessions, and the manager can listen to those. It's a very robust course, and at the end, they actually will sit for a final exam, which is an actual live role play. We have a third-party group that does the role play, it does the grading, and we have about, I think, 75 students have graduated. We have another 200 enrolled in the course. As I mentioned, an academic version is being taught at one university and more. Let's go to the next slide on this. Go ahead to the next slide if you would. When we graduate, they earn a diploma with a certificate number. They can list the CISP designation on their business card, the resume, and so forth. We do have once you pass, that's great. We do have a modest requirement for ongoing learning, so they can earn continuing sales credits by doing things such as, chapter attendance is one way they can earn some credits. And just being a student in an ongoing learning. Let's go to the next slide. So finally, I'll just leave you some thoughts on how do you get and stay involved among your peer members. Let's go to the next slide. And number one, if you see a webinar by the AA-ISP, jump on the webinar and take a listen to the speakers. Attend one of the conferences, whether it's a frontline event, a summit, which I highly recommend if you're in management, or the executive retreat. You can volunteer, just like Mike was doing, and we thank him, as well as he has a team with Fred, Heather, and Edwin. We appreciate all the volunteer effort. You can also volunteer as an expert panelist. We have about 30 expert panelists that volunteer. They reply to some of the questions that get posted on the website. You can submit an article or best practice, and we review it. And it's good content. We'll post it in our library. And then we have an annual awards program. We'll see that usually comes out in right around February, and we have about a 45-day window where we accept nominations, and once a year at the Leadership Summit, we hand out individual awards, organizational awards. We've begun a Lifetime Achievement Award program, and we also have scholarships. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And I'll just pause there and open it up for any questions regarding the AA-ISP, the association that hopefully you all become a member.
Any questions on any of that? No, we're going to continue on, but just
What do you get with the associate membership?
Bob, did you?
Yes.
What do you get with the associate membership versus the other memberships?
Oh, sure. Thanks for putting me back on mute here. So basically, the associate membership is the entry-level type of membership. It enables a member to, most importantly, participate throughout the year in all the chapter meetings. Think of it as a nominal due to help support the chapter program. You also, as an associate member, you can, some of the conferences have member, non-member rates, and you get a, like at the front line, I think the normal rate is $4.95. Any member, associate professional, can go in at $3.95. And you also get a certain amount of communications from the AA-ISP. You also can participate in the Training Tuesday monthly workshop. So, now, what you cannot do is you're not able to access and download all of the library of content that's on the website. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you cannot participate in the Ask an Expert program. And that's where anyone can go in and post a question about whatever. You know, we have a lot of questions about compensation and sales models, this and that. So if you think of the differences, the professional membership has full access to all of the resources that are out there on the website. Hopefully that answered your question. And go on the AA-ISP website under membership, and you'll see there's a comparison chart. And I didn't list a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with either the associate or the professional level. There's a chart there that okay?
It's a good question. And there's a chart that explains it clearly. Any other questions on maybe membership or the association?
I have a question. The certified CISP program accreditation, is that recognized currently with any companies?
That's a good question. Bob, the CISP, is that a recognized accreditation, or is that something that's known, or can you talk more about that?
Yeah, certainly. It's about a year old, so it's a relatively new program to start with. It's not formally recognized by any government body or any state. Some accreditations are recognized by state boards. This one is not. This is really recognized, if you will, by our association, by the AA-ISP. It had, the design of it had input from probably about 5 different organizations. We are in process, as I mentioned, it's being taught at one university. One of the goals would be for a university to actually adopt it and issue credit. We're talking to some universities, and that way it would be under the auspices of an accredited college university. And then future plans might be to have this be adopted by more of a government type entity. We do have, I will mention one other thing on the CISP. It is now being offered to returning veterans. We've donated the program and the resources behind the program to veterans at really no cost for them to take this, and then hopefully it'll help the returning vets to be a little bit more qualified for some of the things.
Any other questions?
On CISP or?
So what is the cost to become a CISP?
Bob, can you talk about the cost? Bob, can you talk?
I think you asked the question.
Can you talk about
cost of it? Okay, so the cost for a single non-member is $875. That includes all the coursework, the online. It's all done virtually, as well as the sitting for your final examination. And then, of course, there's a member price, and then there's prices. We have a lot of people putting their teams through discounts for that as well.
So for the team setup for the live.
Again, you can visit, there's a section on the CISP website.
On the team part, can you, for the live final exam, is that something that you send everybody up there to take it, or is it something that you can have done at your office?
I think I heard the question. It's a little difficult to hear, but let me repeat what I thought I heard. You asked, is the final exam like mandatory, or can you separate that out? Was that the question?
No, do the students fly to somewhere to do it live, or what are the logistics on the final exam?
No, not at all. That's kind of one of the advantages. Everything is done virtually, so when they take their final exam, first of all, there's a chapter 11 prepares them for the final exam. There's an actual recorded role play that was scored at 100%. There's a transcript, there's a scorecard, so it gives them all the tools for a successful role play. And then, once they're studied up and they know how, what they need to do to pass this live role play, if you will, there's 6 different sales scenarios. There's like a scenario for software, there's something for technology, there's a service offering, there's a training offering. They study up on the scenario. There's actually some research they have to do. There's profiles in LinkedIn, for example, that they will look up, and they can do some pre-call research to prepare for the final. Then they call into an 800 number, and then there's going to be the mock client prospect who's going to answer the phone and away they go. I will tell you, it's not, you just don't jump on this thing and pass it. We've failed, probably 15% of the people have failed the first time around, and they get to take it again, and we provide some feedback, and they study up, and then they take it again and they pass. Hopefully that answers the question.
Any other questions? Good questions. Bob, I think that's it.
Okay, well, thanks for having me, and thank you, Michael, and congratulations for the group that formed the newest chapter of the AA-ISP. We hope to see your chapter represented at the Leadership Summit.
Yep.
In fact, there's awards that are now given out at the summit for chapters, so hopefully someday in the future the Houston chapter will win with those awards. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Bob. So, well, a lot of information. I hope, this is our first event, so moving forward, probably not going to be as many PowerPoint slides and information, so sorry about that. And we'll try to move quickly through the remainder.
Did you have a?
Yeah, they're on the same slide deck, so you just advanced.
Oh, okay.
But while Edwin is fixing that, good stuff through this association. Just to kind of endorse what Bob said. So I've joined, as I'm sure many of you have, multiple organizations. Like, for example, AMA, not to dog the AMA, but American Marketing Association. So I've been involved in that. I've been a committee member in that. And, I don't know if I really got a whole lot out of it. I mean, marketing is kind of different for whichever job you do. And, you go to events and maybe you can do some networking, but not really develop your marketing skills. There's so much great information on the website. I don't know if any of you are members and have been on there. Great amount of information, white papers, tips, write-ups. A quick example, they also have weekly, I think it's either weekly or every other week, I'm not sure, training Tuesdays. And so I join those all the time. And so I have salespeople. And a quick example, there was a training on LinkedIn, which by the way, I'm on LinkedIn every day. I know how to use it, right? Well, someone was going through, and he gave me a tip that we've implemented, and it's greatly improved our results, and I'll share it with you. Sometimes you click on a contact on LinkedIn, and they block out the last name. And they say, you want to see the full name, click here to upgrade, right? Well, if you take the title of the individual and put that into Google and click search, it'll take you to their public profile and show you their last name. So you can get that information without upgrading. So that little tidbit I pass along to my team, and now when we're trying to find contacts in organizations, well, we're able to do without upgrading to LinkedIn Premium account. So that's a quick example of the content here that can impact your operation and improve either your personal results or the results for your organization. So let's go ahead and jump into some, just a quick introduction from the chapter to introduce myself, which I don't think I've actually done up to this point. I'm Michael Halper. I'm the president of the chapter. My background is, about 14 years frontline sales experience. The majority of that, I'd say about half of that was inside sales, on the phone, working in a call center. The other half was outside sales. But I'll tell you this, even when I was in outside sales, I spent a lot of time on the phone. I probably did more cold calling when I was in outside sales than I was when I was in inside sales. So, and what I think, why this association resonates well with me is that I wasn't always successful. A lot of those years, I failed. I didn't hit my quote. not a lot of those years. There were years where I wasn't successful. I didn't hit my quota. I was in situations where my manager said, here's your territory, here's your quota, make it happen. And I'll tell you, you can't question the effort that I put in. I cranked out calls, I worked real hard, but in this field, working hard doesn't equal results. If you pick up the phone and make 100 dials a day, but your messaging is off, you still don't sound good, you're not going to necessarily get brownie points and quota credit for working hard. I learned that the hard way, and I failed. I'll tell you the way that I got to success is by doing stuff like this, by reading books and by learning on my own. Because the thing is that you don't have to figure it out on your own. Someone's already been through all this, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Learn from the others who have already led the way. So, anyways, that's what has led me to where I am today. I actually have a consulting firm, and our niche is cold calling, and so we work with small businesses and help them to improve that space. And we do that through training, coaching, consulting, and then I also have a team of telesales people that I put on the phone for small businesses that don't have enough sales resources. So I came across this association. I joined as a member. They didn't have a chapter here, so I volunteered to start this chapter. That being said, some key members to my team that have helped me to build this chapter, Craig Klein, the CEO of Sales Nexus, who is this facility we're in here today, Heather Borst, Director of Marketing and Inside Sales at SpectraCell Laboratories, and Edwin Rivera, Director of Sales at Transformation Enzymes Corporation. So that's the team here, and we're available, and if you have any questions about the chapter or anything else, go ahead and move on. Edwin, please. Edwin's our PowerPoint advancer as well. The mission, this is what we kind of agreed to at the local level, and it's a little simpler than the other slides that we went through. Our goal is to help improve sales performance and career growth, and to do that by building knowledge, skills, and connections. So it's all about results, right? Whether you're a manager or you're a salesperson, it's a business owner, it's all about driving sales performance. And so we can do that together through the resources of the association, and by just pure knowledge sharing amongst ourselves, we can help to improve sales performance by increasing our knowledge of what to do and what not to do, and developing our skills. And most importantly, we can build our connections, and that can help us in both of those areas. And so, we can come here to build networking connections, to share information. You might be a manager. This is going to be a great pool for you to find resources if you want to do recruiting. And if you're someone who's looking for a new opportunity, this could probably be a great place for you to come to find a new venture, a new chapter in your life. So that's what we're here to do. We hope that if you're not a member, that aligns with what you want for yourself. And if it is, join. It's only the associate membership is $25, so you should be able to get your return on investment on that. Our plan moving forward is, to get together on a quarterly basis. So the association will provide you resources you can use every day. There's events and virtual events, live events. But what we're going to do here is we're going to focus on getting together once a quarter. We may do that a lot here. This is a fairly central location. Depending on feedback, we may move around to the north side, to the south side. But we may do a lot here. This is a good space. But we're going to get together, and we're going to provide a lot of information. We'll bring in speakers. We'll put together content of our own, and we're going to focus. We're going to take the needs that you have, and we're going to give you information on that. But we're also, and every time we get together, we'll be networking. We're going to build tight bonds and relationships amongst us, and we'll rotate. I'd like some feedback at some point on, does the early morning work well? Lunch, I've gotten feedback that lunch doesn't work well, but we'll mix it up. Like maybe after hours might be better, and we'll get together formally. This is a pretty formal setting, right? But we'll have some fun. We'll get together informally. We'll do some happy hours, maybe some adult beverages, and have some good times. So that's our plan, and that is all that we presented from a slide perspective. I want to give thanks to Sales Nexus. They're the primary sponsor for this event. They provided the space, the food, and a lot of logistical support. And I just want to give a shout out to Sales Nexus. So for my telesales operation, we actually use Sales Nexus. Came over to Sales Nexus from Salesforce, salesforce.com, and had some challenges with Salesforce. Those were all resolved, and has really helped my business using Sales Nexus. I want to give an endorsement there. Brett, let me check the time. Yeah, Craig?
Well, thanks, Michael, for those kind words, first of all. But I also wanted to point out, because there are some customers in the room and perhaps some future customers. For Sales Nexus users, we'll sponsor your associate membership to the association. So if you're interested in joining, let me know and we'll get you signed up.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. And so there's a couple different things that we have about 20 minutes left for the event. And what we wanted to do was have a roundtable session. And we gave out some cards, and I don't know if we did this correctly or not, but we wanted you to write down a question or challenge and to dump it in this box, and then we could kind of go through. We're not going to call anybody out by name, but just to get some open discussion points, and either we can provide some help to those now, or we can kind of gather those and have those as future topics. Do we have any? Or
yeah, I have a couple. I don't know if anyone
are there
has
any
other ones. I can start collecting those. But one of the questions or topics was obviously selling from inside. How you can effectively host a meeting for multiple clients. What types of, do you use a go-to meeting or a telephone conference, since you obviously don't have the advantage of pulling together a dinner meeting or of some sort. So I don't know if anyone has experience in doing that or systems that they use successfully.
What was the question?
No, so
Using virtual?
selling from inside, for example, we sell to physicians. So out in the field, our field sales reps will gather, have a dinner at a nice restaurant, and physicians will come in and we'll have a speaker. So if we want to do that same thing for our remote territory, from an inside perspective, perhaps setting up a go-to meetings, is that something that you would do in the evening, during the day? Would you, how would you host something like that? And if you have, has it been effective in gathering groups of clients instead of one-on-one?
So virtual sort of client events?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Has anybody done that, or any ideas or thoughts?
Yeah, our company and our inside salespeople use GoToMeeting. We use that a good amount, and what we do is we have a hard time getting in front of that decision maker, and so what we'll do is set up an appointment, and when you talk about time, it's really based on that customer and what time they have available, and then we make ourselves available for that time. And it'll either be just a salesperson, and we might tag team it with like a technical support person, because we're a technical type of industry, and so it seems to have worked, and they seem to get good feedback rather quickly. The hard part to evaluate, especially if the groups start getting bigger, is how engaged is the group on the other side, and so that's sometimes a bit difficult to gauge. But if it's one-on-one, it's typically good engagement, and we'll ask for the order right then and there, especially if we're talking about a specific type of product and what makes sense for them, and we'll go ahead and ask for the order at that particular moment in time. So GoToMeeting has worked for us, and I know there's other, you can use Skype as well, which is very similar. The only drawback to that is you got to have you can have a camera, but they also have to be on a laptop, and whatnot. Connection issues sometimes happen. That's just kind of part of it. But once we can get them on and get past all those technical issues, it seems to work pretty well.
Anything to add to that on anybody's side? The only thing that I would add to that is Google. What is it? Not Google Chat. There's a Google
Talk. Google Talk.
Not Google Talk. There's a Google video conference. Sharing. What's that?
Is that rather than?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm losing the name, but that might be something to look at. I haven't used it actually. Quick question from my side. What's the is it more of a manager type of role here, or frontline sales? How many frontline inside sales? Okay. So then mostly more upper management level is the rest. Okay. That's good to know. I have a question. So there's a question here that was submitted on the registration, and it is, let's see, how to keep your team motivated. So I think that's probably a pretty big challenge in inside sales, right? Because speaking from experience, it's a very challenging staffing challenge, because it's a very challenging job. And it's somewhat, you know, a job where if someone has a decent amount of experience, they're gonna not want to do inside sales. So you have to balance like, maybe the high skill set versus maybe, early career, experience. And it's a challenging job mentally, right? So I think keeping your team motivated is, any head nods if that's a challenge? Okay. So, well, just opening the floor, any managers out there that want to share what they've done to, you know, help keep people motivated?
I'll share something. When I got my team first, I work at American General, so AIG, the whole AIG story. I got the team about 6 years ago, and they were very new. They were reorganized. They didn't really. I do inside sales support, and so I got this team of 12 people that came from all over the company and didn't necessarily have sales. So that was a challenge in itself. But figuring out how do you group these people together to be a team and be excited about what they're doing after we just went through a big organizational change and having to deal with agents who don't want to do business with American General because they think that AIG has some control over us and all that fun stuff. And so what I did with them is, and I actually learned this through Limerick, is we started out with, you know, I put all this poster board up on the wall in a meeting, and I said, okay, if Mary Jane, who was the president of the company at the time, went out to the field and said, inside sales is this, what would you say? And so we wrote words up all around the board. I mean, we had probably 75 words up there. And professional, efficient, knowledgeable, all that stuff. And I gave everybody $200 of play money, and we auctioned off the words. And they all, once they bought their words, and some bought 2 or 3, some people bought 1, they fought over words. It was pretty fun. And then once they owned their word, they owned it. So they had to define what that word meant to them individually, as a team, and in our industry. And so they had to focus on that word in 3 different ways. And they had 3 months to design a presentation on how they were going to use that. Then we went into, you know, what is a presentation and how do you do PowerPoints and all that stuff because I didn't know. And it was kind of a sales pitch. They used premium or promo items, and so one person did a candy bar, and she did a wrapper around the candy bar. And she used our marketing department to put it together and use that as her promo. And it was really fun. By the time they hated it at first, they all complained, I can't believe we have to do this. But by the end, everybody, you could see the enthusiasm, the camaraderie, the excitement within the team, and they actually started developing what they owned. And it really pulled the team together. It was tough, and it was, you had to keep kind of bringing them back, but it worked. It was really exciting.
And where'd you get that exercise idea from?
That's what I was gonna ask. How did you think of that?
It was LIMRA, which is Life Insurance Marketing Resources Association or something. If you type up LIMRA on the website, it's Life Insurance. But they have a lot of conferences and things, and I went to one, and this happened to be an idea, and it was a little bit different. I tweaked it a little bit for my team, but it was exciting. That's really
Creative.
It's kind of dress the part, so act the part.
Right.
Anybody anything to add to that? Bill?
I think one of the things that's important is to have vision of your career opportunities. You have regular discussions with your people, and those that perform well, you promote. Nothing does better, motivates better than seeing people promoted to another position.
Yeah, that's great.
We had a topic card on that, which was what types of career paths are available. So in terms of structure of your departments, you know, originally my department was you were a salesperson, inside sales, or you would go outside sales maybe. And there was just really nothing in between. And obviously we want to develop and keep that person inside. So I don't know if there's different paths or how large your departments are.
I'll comment on that one. What my experience is in the organizations that I've been a part of, inside sales is the very best place to start in any company. I'm a big believer in that. It's in many places it's an entry level position, not everywhere, but my experience is that I've seen people move from inside sales to the field. I've seen people move from inside sales to technical roles, if that was sort of their niche or their comfort level. I've seen people move into obviously supervisory and then management and director level positions, starting as inside salespeople. I've seen them move into marketing roles. I've seen them move into customer support leadership. There's a lot of different places you can go from an inside sales position, because I think you're the front line, you're the tip of the sword for the company. You understand the value proposition, you understand how the business works. It's very difficult to, it's essential to your job to understand how the whole business and how the whole company operates. And it gives you a perspective that not a lot of roles have. And so I always advise people who are starting their career, if they think sales is something that's even remotely interesting to them, go find a good organization, join an inside sales team, and learn the ropes that way, and then grow your career from there. I think it's a great place to start. I started there. I know Michael and I worked together 15 years ago, and he started there too. So it's a great place to start a career.
Yeah.
And to finish your career as well. I mean, I also want to make that comment that I've known professional inside salespeople. That is what they did, and that's what they loved, and they were very good at it. And there's no reason to think that it's a starting point and it's just something you do for a year or two. Many of you know. I mean, I'm still doing inside sales. So inside sales is a place that you can have a long, great, and successful career. So it doesn't always have to be some place that you just start as a springboard.
Especially now, it's just growing so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Mike Faraday and I, we started around the same time at Compact, just out of school, inside sales, and Noah, we were just talking about this earlier. It's a great place to learn. You're developing great communication skills. You're learning about the industry that you're selling into. Like Noelle might not know very much about lab research. She's learning about that industry. Now she can go and work in different areas of that industry. So good stuff. We just have a few minutes left. I want to actually, I don't know if we have time to get into something else, but wanted to give you something for coming in. I actually wrote a book. I don't know if this is a good giveaway, but it's something that you can take with you. So maybe it's a takeaway versus a giveaway. But it's a book on cold calling. You know, shameless plug. It's on Amazon.com. But it provides you. It's a good field or reference manual for your desk while you're on the phone. I have a couple copies here. So I'll grab a couple cards. Actually, well, if you could.
Pull my own.
Looking for the shiny one.
That's not mine.
Renee does Dabu.
Hey, I told you I was gonna win.
There you go.
Thank you.
You can't sleep at night.
Let's see. Let it be mine, and it's not. I can tell by the way.
Johnny.
Thank you.
Oh, you have
So we have just a couple minutes left. So why don't maybe we could wrap with getting some feedback, questions. Actually start with any questions on the chapter membership, anything we've discussed, any other questions for your day-to-day?
I actually have two. One, if we're interested in being a part of the association, we sign up on the national website to do that. And then two, what's the next step or the next plans for the next event that you're going to have?
Sure. So did you print out any?
Yeah, in your package, the very first page, you just go to the main website and sign up on the national level. And then we'll get the information in terms of the chapter.
Yeah. And then the next events, this is our fall event. The next event will be Q1. And, you know, we're open to ideas. It may be here if the morning works well. What we'll do is we'll email out to the membership and find out what time works best. And, you know, we'll try to do less PowerPoint and more discussion, knowledge sharing and whatnot. So, yes, ma'am?
They do the summits on a national level. Will we do anything like workshop related on a chapter?
We can do whatever we want. So, you know, if we have some good ideas and that fits well with what people want, we could do a workshop. We could definitely turn these hour-and-a-half, 2-hour meetings into a mini workshop. If there's enough interest to do half day, we can do that. We can bring speakers from the outside in. I have a lot of content, you know, that I would be glad to share, so we can definitely do that.
And it might be
So-
nice too to look for some type of informal event before the next formal one, some type of
Okay.
mixer or something like that. So we actually have a little bit more opportunity just to talk with each other and share some information as well.
I mean, we don't have to wait for the quarterly meeting to have
Yeah.
another event, like,
Mhm.
I'm the owner of Computer Whiz, and I hired a salesperson a few months ago, and she's gone. She didn't deliver.
Mhm.
Not because she wasn't good, because I've never had a sales department. I
Mhm.
didn't know how to guide her. I was too busy doing my own thing.
Uh-huh.
So the reason why I came today is because I'm interested in finding out how do you establish a sales department.
Mhm.
That's what I'm here for, whether it's inside sales or outside sales. Sales is the same. I
Mhm.
mean, I can sell it, but
Mhm.
I mean, how do you coach someone? How do you train someone? How do you
Build.
do it?
I think that's such an important topic. I know that I have the exact same question. I've been doing it for 11 years in the same company. And it's one of those things where it's, you know, that getting to that hardcore question on how, because what I'm finding out is, you know, a lot of us that are here are the ones that are driven and are disciplined and do a really great job of what we do. But the ones that we're hiring maybe aren't that way.
Right.
And so you have to like pull them along. How do you keep them engaged? How do you do all that stuff? So that's the reason I joined, and getting a chance to work with everybody here has been great, but that's exactly why I joined.
And that's what in ours, we had, our inside sales was really sort of a miscellaneous, sort of customer service, sort of just, you know, remote areas, and we had 2 people. And we've grown that to 6 people. We've added different levels from account maintenance to new business development, so we have some career paths in there. So now we have, I think, a really good infrastructure, but now it's just like, okay, let's get that train moving, and how do we motivate and increase sales, and, you know, we're looking at building more tools into it as well. So, and I was so excited when I found the association, because all of those tools that I was looking for, how do you motivate, how do you hire, how do you train, you get halfway through reading something, it's like, oh, this isn't relevant, this is for field sales. So when I saw the association and saw everything that was about, you know, if there's first-time managers for inside sales departments, there's an article about why inside salespeople fail. I mean, there's very, very specific information I thought was great, and there's also a forum where you can go in and post chats, and if we have the local LinkedIn group as well that we started, so you should all just go and join that, because that's a great way that we can all communicate too.
The quick answer is that all the answers to what you need are in this room and in the association. So I don't know when we're going to get back together as a group, but you can certainly grab a card from me, and I can talk to you a lot about what you need.
So the association is on LinkedIn to join, or is that what I heard?
There's a group.
We have a Houston chapter group on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So you can ask that. The great thing about the LinkedIn group is just it's more that hopefully we can all join and connect, and you can ask questions. Hey, I'm running into this. What do you guys do for that? And collaborate. So, any last thoughts, questions? It's just right at 9. I don't want to keep any more than we originally previously did agree to. So, thanks for everybody for coming, and hopefully look forward to, if you're not a member, to joining and seeing you guys again at future events. And feel free. There's food. Feel free to hang out and network.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.